Hey.
Hey man, how's it going?
Hey, I'm good. How are you? Let me just get to slightly less terrible lighting somehow.
Cool, man.
How are you?
I'm good, man. How you been?
Just rocking and rolling,
Yeah, I'll admit this is the first episode of the series where I've actually had someone who I've never met before on, so
Oh,
little bit nervous, but
all
think
good.
it'll be fine. Oh geez, since you came on, all the chat's freaking lighting up now. So anyways, I guess since lots of people are coming on, we'll get started. So I guess just to start things off, how things been with you in the pandemic in terms of like your business, like in terms of like, I've seen that you've been obviously offering like the 6 month plan and the consultations and all that. How's that been going in terms of volume of people and volume of bands?
Honestly, it's been going better than ever. In large part because of TikTok.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I've literally doubled my business in 6 months because of TikTok. And I was already doing, like, pretty okay. So, that was a really big thing for me, and it's been really exciting, too, because it's the first time I'm talking to people who are, like, my age. Usually everyone's much older than me. And so that's kind of cool, and you're, just accessing new opportunities and having, like, some players reaching out and being like, hey, maybe we should do something. And I'm like, yeah, that's a lot. You know what I mean? So, honestly, like everyone else, I've definitely had periods of, like, pretty extreme depression and definitely had periods of, like, wondering what was going to happen, and where we were going to go from here. But, like, broadly speaking, things could have been a lot worse, I think. I think that a lot of people, I think that the pandemic is interesting because it's in many ways like a giant, insane, horrible mindset test. You know what I mean? And I think you can sort of tell, like, okay, like, who was in a good mindset place? I'm trying to just get some better, like, who had a good mindset? Who was in a good place before this? Who was able to, like, figure something out? And, and so, like, it's not easy. It's not a given. There's a French phrase that I can't translate. But, like, it is possible to do stuff, and I do see bands doing more than they ever have or having their most successful year ever.
Yeah.
But I also see a lot of bands who sort of, like, gave up and were like, yeah, we were not going to do anything, and posted, like, 2 times in the last year.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't necessarily judge anyone for that, but I do think, like, this was a year you could have been growing.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. It's interesting you bring that up because that's actually kind of how I kind of started this whole thing, and how I discovered you is because me and my band, we actually, towards the beginning of the pandemic, like, we were fine for like the first month, but some stuff happened that I won't get into here. But pretty much for like the first time in my life, I pretty much hit like a full-on like 6 month depression and didn't post anything or didn't do anything music related. And when I got out of it, I realized, I'm like, shit, I need to start doing stuff again. And I started posting again and realizing, oh, our reach is garbage right now. So that's why I hit you up, and Andy Dowling as well. And my friend Gaia Guarda, who was on the show last week. And I hit all you guys up to get insight, and it's worked really well. Like, all the stuff that you've taught me and they've taught me have definitely, like, this whole idea for the live stream chats, I joked that I ripped it off from Gaia because she had me on one of hers.
Sure.
And yeah, it's been going great. So the next thing I wanted to touch on, because this is something I've always wondered about you since I started talking with you and I started watching your videos and all that, is how did you first get to know all this social media knowledge? Like, I know you mentioned in some of your videos before that you used to front a hardcore band. So how did you learn all this knowledge that you impart to everyone else yourself? Was it to promote this band that you were in, or is there another reason?
That band I was in was mainly an excuse to like take a bunch of drugs and fight people.
Fair enough.
Which, I feel like everyone needs to be in that band at some point in their lives.
Oh yeah, that was my first band too. Yeah.
But I think that it came from a couple places. A lot of it came out of like in high school. First I started a blog with one of my best friends, who I'm still friends with, and then that turned into owning a record label a few years later. And so at that point, I'm starting to promote things, and I was also starting to I was like in retrospect, it was very weird because I was like 16, like hanging out with like people in their 30s, and they would be like, "You're like young. Explain to me what this Facebook bullshit is." And so like I'd set up bands' Facebook pages and stuff, just as something to do while I was writing reviews and doing all these things, right? So I just sort of started learning from there, and it was sort of like, well, when I graduate, I don't think I can have like a real job, so maybe I should learn something about this. And what kind of happened that was interesting was I was writing a review of a new band every day, and I still do that. But what happened when I was a kid doing that was I was just consuming more than anyone else. And what it meant was I was looking at more bands' Facebook pages. And so I was starting to go like, oh, well, bands with this sort of setup on their Facebook, I get this many views when they post my review. Bands with this sort of setup on their Facebook, I only get this many views. Okay, so clearly they have something going on, right? And like piece by piece, and people were just increasingly asking me questions, and I knew I wanted to get involved, but I didn't really know how, so I was just sort of learning these things, and then learning for like a band I wanted to be in one day, which I don't know why I kept thinking when I was in high school that magically I'd meet 3 other guys who like Darkthrone. But,
yeah.
That didn't happen.
Oh yeah, never. It usually never happens when you want to be in like a certain kind of band. And I can speak for myself when I say this, is that most of the time it'll take a while before you find 3 other guys or 4 other guys that like the same shit as you.
Exactly. So but whatever. But that's kind of how I learned, was I was just part of the scene and just trying to help people. And again, I was like an actual child, and people would just be like, well, you seem to like the social media for your label seems to do okay. You seem to do okay on your blog, and so I kind of piece by piece was able to sort of like pick things up, and then I just did a bunch of reading on top of that as things got more serious, and I still probably don't know enough, but it's good enough for government work.
Yeah, fair enough, dude. And just as a quick aside before we keep going, I'll just address this every video, but everyone who's watching in the comments, if you have a question for myself or Matt, then please leave them in there and we'll try and get to them. So that's really interesting. And as I said, a lot of the things that we've gotten from your videos and from what I've seen, a lot of other bands have been helped out by your stuff too. And I know I can say it helped us out a lot, because as I said, we went through a bit of a lineup change, and it took us a while to find a bunch of new guys. That's why I mentioned the whole it takes a while for people who find like similar genre to you, because we're power metal, and that's not a very popular genre in North America, at least, unless your name's Unleash the Archers. And it was now we finally have 4 guys we all like, but it wasn't always for the first 4 years of our existence. It wasn't like that at all, which was interesting. Now I have one more thing I wanted to, this can go on for a bit. There's one thing I wanted to touch on with you, but before that, we actually do have some comments here, some questions.
We'll get there.
Yeah. So Sunflower GHXST, any specific biohacks you learned out of curiosity? I guess for you then.
Yeah, so here's the big ones. 1, make it very clear who you sound like. right? Because, when I read your bio, I want to understand, like, because, like, if you just say, oh, Lycanthro is a power metal band, there's, like, 8 types of power metal that could be.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like, tell me, oh, we sound like Hammerfall and Dragon Force, or, oh, we sound like, I don't know, like, Brainstorm and...
Blind Guardian, yeah.
Exactly, yeah, like, there's, so, like, just tell people that. That's a big one. That's, like, the big thing people got to get out of your bio. Second, don't get lost in the weeds, Like, don't tell people... Like, I don't care that you, like, as a fan, like, I don't care that you replaced a bunch of band members. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't need to know everyone's name.
Yeah, like that seems like a bigger deal than people think it is, because, like, and I'll admit I've had times where I'm like, oh, we keep replacing all these band members. That kind of looks bad, but I notice we're a young enough band that no one really cares at the moment. So
yeah, hi Zane, thank you for waving. I miss you. But
oh
yeah, like, so there's that. So don't get lost in the weeds, And then the final point is, like, what I like to do is I like to do 3 bio variants. So I'll do, like, a 3-paragraph bio, right? Then I'll do a 1-paragraph version, and then I'll do, like, a 1 or 2 sentence version. And the 1 paragraph and the 1 or 2 sentence are really just pulled out of the 3-paragraph. But I think that's the cleanest way to do it, because, like, different people, we need different amounts of information, and different platforms serve, have different bio lengths. So you can have you can have the paragraph bio in Facebook, the full bio on your website, and the 1 or 2 sentence bio on your Instagram and your TikTok.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But they all kind of need to be feeding into each other.
Yeah, and and one piece of advice I got from someone else, just to add on to that, was I remember talking to, at a show a while back, Gabe from Idle Hands. Well, they're not Idle Hands anymore, Unto Others, but formerly Idle Hands. And he said something similar about the obviously telling people what your band sounds like. You don't and another thing is, I found that you don't actually have to, like, it's what kind of you think you sound like, because it doesn't actually have to sound like it per se, because they told me that when they first started going, they said, oh, we're a mixture of Iron Maiden and Sisters of Mercy. And to me, I can hear the Sisters of Mercy, but I don't really hear the Iron Maiden. But that from what they told me, that's kind of irrelevant, because that's sort of like the listener's cue to be like, oh, I'll be the judge of that. So
yeah, well, but like, it's also because they fit into, like, true metal and stuff. I remember when they were going around saying that. I passed on them in 2018, before they were signed, before they got signed by my boy Nico at Eisenwald.
Yeah.
I definitely was someone who was like, nah, we don't need to sign this band. And, like, 6 months later, it was like,
yeah, exactly. They're like the fastest rising band I've seen in, like, recent memory. And and
that was a mistake. I'll just leave it there.
yeah, no, I bet you all the other labels are just kicking themselves.
Yeah, but
but
Nico Eisenwald has the ear. He knows what's up. So much love to him.
Oh yeah, for sure. And even I've talked with them briefly, and they even helped us out a bit, because before I actually heard about you and all them, their singer actually sent me a document, and it was literally step by step how they got to where they are. And I'm just awesome. I'm like, this is genius. Like, I watch it, I'm like, this is like the holy grail right here, and it's freaking great. Before I get to my last thing I wanted to ask you, we have another comment here from Casper Grindcore. Anywhere we can hear your old band, or did you guys have any recordings at all?
We did, but I noticed a couple years ago they got taken off Bandcamp. But also, like, all the people in that band. Well, that's not true. Not the drummer. The drummer I never heard from again. But, like, the other guys who were in that are in pretty known bands now, and I think are trying to, like, circle the wagons a little bit. I don't really know. Like, we're still all homies, But
what bands are they in, if you don't mind me asking?
One is in both of them are in Bandit, which is like a power violence band.
Yeah,
getting pretty big. And then the bassist he was like, my boy Michael is in Waking the Cadaver.
Sweet, yeah.
Which is, like, very weird, because we used to, like, cruise around, going to shows, and listen to Waking the Cadaver, and like laugh about Slam, and like now he's in that band, and it was just like I like flew up from like Thanksgiving a day early or something to see them in New York. It was super sick. It was just like, okay, cool, like, you know, all the fucking DIY homies, you know, it's good to see that.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. So I guess the other thing, because if the viewers don't really know, it's just because the other thing I wanted to touch on is that this stream we're on a bit of a time crunch because it's usually an hour, but we only got half an hour today. So the other thing I wanted to touch on is one thing that you're really big on, and I've noticed, and is you always say that the number one thing is to post constantly, try to like every day and all that. So, and as someone who's been doing that personally, it's been a really huge struggle mentally to do that because, you know, some days you don't really have anything to offer, you know, so you kind of try and think on the fly and all that. So my question to you is that I've noticed that you're someone who very much leads by example. So you do that every day. So how do you come up with what you're gonna talk about every day in your short, like in your TikTok videos and in your videos, and when you share them to Instagram? Like, how do you how are you able to come up with a different topic every day and have it be meaningful and have it be in just that amount of time?
Yeah. So there's really two questions there. One is how do you come up with bacon spits topics? The other is how do you come up with social content in general, right? So in terms of question one, how do I come up with bacon spits topics? It's usually, first of all, I create a fuck nut of content. So like 50 pieces a week. So if I see something that did good on one platform, I go and I take that, right? So if I go like, oh, we did this podcast and that podcast did good, then I take that podcast idea and then I just make it a video, or same with an article or whatever. So that's one place. Otherwise, it's really just inspired by like what I'm going through day to day and what people are asking me, you know, because like I get so many DMs and I welcome them, you know, but I get so many DMs and a lot of them are like good, thoughtful questions. And so it's like, cool, you know, what can I do? You know, someone asked me about, you know, like, let me look at a fucking, I don't know what any bacon spits are about.
It's all good, dude.
I don't watch bacon spits. What kind of nerd do you think I am? No, yeah, like, okay, like today was like using Dropbox. Like that.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You know, like I'm pretty sure that literally came from, I was like looking at my phone. I was sitting on my porch, trying to just come up with topics and looking at my email, and I got like a Dropbox share, and I was like, you know what I mean? Like, that's what I wanted. That's a good thing to talk about. You know what I mean? So I think that stuff like that is usually very helpful. I think otherwise, you know, yeah, just building on your life, you know. Now, in terms of creating daily social content, there's two ways to do this, right? One is, and I need to be better at this, is just photographing everything and being willing to share a lot of things. And so this means everything from like, I have posts that I need to get out about like the book I'm reading right now, Blink by Malcolm Gladwell. Or like I'm probably gonna post this tonight. I drew this really dumb picture of Curtis and his kids. As like not even stick people, but like potato people.
Yeah.
You know, they're like a ball with arms coming out. And it's like super stupid. And like I'll post something like that because it's just like some dumb shit I was Googling while doing a German exercise, or I was doodling while doing a German exercise, right? Like whatever, you know. And he posts stuff, and but like it's funny because it's on brand, because it's like it's very dumb to be like an adult with a job doing these horrible drawings of his business partner, right? But also it like shows like, oh, that's how tight Matt and Curtis are, that Matt like does dumb little drawings. You know what I mean? You know, so documenting everything like that is really valuable, you know, and just understanding like, can I share these things? What is on brand? Da 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 da. You know. The other thing, the more strategic way to do it that I really like is you sit down and you break your content into 5 categories. And what you're gonna do, so you know, so you just look and you're just like, what are the general categories that define me? So for for me, for instance, it's bacon spits, travel, DIY scene friends, you know, memes, and reading, right? So I make sure that I have these 5 groups, they're sorted in my phone, and then I make sure that I never have 2 consecutive, right? So I'll do like bacon spits, reading, travel, bacon spits, DIY friends, bacon, you know what I mean? Like the bacon spits is like the core pillar of everything.
It's your main thing, yeah.
Yeah, but I have everything else sorted into these other categories. And then there's like a few other things that sneak in every once in a while, you know, like a baseball post or a soccer post or something, you know.
Yeah.
But like, that's broadly speaking where it sits. And, you know, and I think having that level of sorting makes it really easy for me, you know. And then also realizing that, like, on a day, you know, having the patience to understand that, like, on a day where I don't really have anything to post, all I need to do is just shout out a friend, you know, or post an old thing that did good. You know, I have a really great mayhem meme that I post once a year that always gets like literally 4,000 likes. It's insane, you know. Like, I was actually just pulling up another old picture of me and Philip that I need to repost. You know, just because like these things do well, you know. So it's just like identify, you know. But and the thing is, like, when you have, you know, how many posts do I have? When you have 2,300 posts on your Instagram, even if a third of those are bacon spits, that's still 1,600 photos I can fucking pull from. You know what I mean? 1,566. But yeah, you know, so it's just like you create all this content and then you just go. And I so much of the time I'll just like, if I don't want to take something old, I'll just flip through my phone and just be like, what pictures are there? You know,
I found myself doing that too as well. Just if there's a day where I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna post today, I don't have anything, then it's literally just me looking through my phone. Okay, what old photo do I have that's stupid that people will like?
Yeah, but like, you know, that works. Like, you know, because like sometimes you do come up with like what, you know, like a cute picture of your cat or a picture of you and whoever who's cool, or just like a cool memory of traveling somewhere interesting, or
yeah,
you know, like it's not always a gimme, but it's always, you know, but it's always worth doing.
yeah, exactly.
Icicle. Sorry. Oh, I was telling Icicle I was glad I helped him.
Oh yeah, right. Okay, we're going after midnight. Actually helps Leopard struggling well for new content. Yeah, man, this man right here is the person to go to get you out of your rut.
I mean, you know, like, I think it just helps to, like, the deeper you delve with the community, the more stuff comes up and starts to happen, you know, or, like, the best I've found is, like, when someone makes a meme of you. Like, like that Iron Maiden meme of me someone made, Iron Bacon, you know?
My favorite meme of you is actually one thing that you were mentioning with about Curtis, which, spoiler alert, he's going to be on the show as well soon.
My condolences.
And I remember one meme that I saw, because I love you guys have like your little subtle jabs at each other. Like the one
not the word I would use, but okay.
Well, I remember seeing like a Homer Simpson meme of him going into the bush, and you're like, oh, Bacon's Bits teaching people how to make 6 figures a year while making 6 figures a year.
Well, that's like a thing we make fun of a lot is there's a lot of like coaches for coaches.
Yeah.
You know, which always felt really scummy to me, because it's like, well, your business model is just taking the business model of the guy above you. Like, I think that you should train people to do another thing.
Yeah.
You know, I don't really believe in this coaches for coaches economy that sort of has come up. I think it's pretty sad.
Yeah, and in terms of like in the music business, even though I find that a lot of the tips and advice that you're giving people, not all of them will work for all the same kind of band. Like one thing one thing that will work for, like, for example, if you're in a I'm trying to think what's a good example.
Like if you're a hardcore band, you should flyer. If you're a rapper, flyering probably won't work.
Yes, yeah, that's a good example.
You know, that's actually been an interesting thing with how Bacon's Bits has been evolving. Has been, you know, and moving to TikTok and now having a bunch of hip hop followers who talk to me and going like, okay, so you're interested in this, this, and this, and so suddenly I can't make. I mean, I still make like jokes about the Melvins or like use death as an example of something. But it's also been kind of interesting to sort of like up my game and be like, okay, like maybe I can use obituary, but also like I need to make like a Pusha T reference so that these people get it. You know?
Yeah.
And that's actually been really rewarding because I've spent a lot of time in the last 2 years learning a lot about hip hop, thanks to my friend Vince Bellino. And I, you know, and I feel a lot more confident in that space now than I did a few years ago. And I think, but I do think that the general overall rules apply everywhere. You know,
Yeah.
While there are specific tactics that definitely will work for one band over another, I think that specific tactics will work for one band over another or one genre over another. The general rules that I try to talk about, overarching success.
Oh yeah, and I guess in my experience with recently just learning about social media and how to use it more is that I find that at first it's very much like a trial and error, because there are lots of things I pretty much kind of went through the list of like different things that you should post, and with our audience being, because even though it's fun, I wanted to segue back to you mentioning like when you were 16 with a label going around like with 30-year-olds, is because believe it or not, I'm actually 22 in a power metal band.
Yeah.
And most of our audience, like I started looking at analytics like for the first time, and I looked at what our audience is, and I'm just like, oh yeah, we play power metal, so our audience is between 25 and 40. So
yeah, dude,
you know,
I mean, metal is also like not gonna be a thing in America in 15 years.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Like I don't really have faith in the next generation of metal. At least not in the current incarnation. But like whatever, you know, like there's a lot of cool stuff going on anyway. You'll still be able to see Cannibal Corpse in 15 years, I think.
Yeah,
That's all that matters.
Yeah, and it's interesting you say that, because I heard on another one of these lives was I had my vocal coach, Mary Z. She's from the band Helion Prime, like a power metal band out of and she told the person she was live streaming with that, because she was telling a story about how there's a band from Europe who wanted to do, like, they're not huge, but they wanted to come do a North American tour, and she literally just told her straight up, like, yeah, don't even come to the US, just go to Canada. That's it. Because I find that Canada actually does have Canada has
a stronger scene. You know, I definitely will, like, as a final point, you know, I had a real epiphany at Summer Breeze in 2019 where I was watching like 25,000 people freak out to Avantasia. And I was like, this is the thing here.
Oh yeah, yeah.
There's probably not 25,000 Avantasia fans in America.
No, I went and saw Avantasia, and one of the most when they came to Montreal, and one of the weirdest things ever was Eric Martin from Mr. Big. He's talking, and he goes, "Oh, I just want a show of hands. How many of you here are between 20 and 30? And I kid you not, only 3 people raised their hand. Me, my friend who I dragged with me there, and one of their backup singers on stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was really interesting. So
That's a weird one.
Yeah. So anyways, it's 7:30 now, so
yes, I gotta go hop on a Zoom. But
all right,
it was
cool.
really, really fun, James. Thank you so much for having me. This is an honor.
No problem.
Again sometime. I'm sorry I have my
it's all good, man. We just here at Wolfpack Live, we're very accommodating. So I guess to sign off, then everyone watching, follow Bacon's Bits, follow us at Lycanthro Metal, and we'll see you on Wednesday for the next stream.
Thank you so much. If you could send me this as a file, I'll upload it.
Oh yeah, will do, man. I still need to figure out how to rip these videos from Instagram because I haven't figured that out yet.
Send me the link and I'll teach you.
All right, cool. Thanks, man.
Take care.
Okay, see you, bud.